In this video we're going to learn about relational databases, how they link together using something called a foreign key, and entity relationship diagrams which show the relationships between the different tables in the database. So let's start by describing what a relational database is. It's a database which has two or more tables or entities, it's another name for a table, which are linked by key fields. I'm just going to highlight the examples here. So if we go to the pet table, pet ID, we decided very early on in another video that is our primary key for that table because that uniquely identifies each individual row in the database. So 001 tells you or gives you the record of Rosie the cat. Okay, 003 gives you the record of Rambo the hamster. And if we look at the other table here, this hasn't been tidied up, but this is the table that links remember originally it was linking the pet to its owner. So Rosie is owned by Mia, Mac is owned by Nate, Rambo is owned by Nate. If we want to link these two tables together, then we have to identify a primary key in this table. And the primary key here would be owner ID because that uniquely identifies each individual owner. So 013 for owner 13 is Mia's details, and 074 is Nate's details. And because we can do this, we can actually rule out the last record because we don't want to have duplicate entries in our database. And so now we've got a correctly formatted table for owner, we can link these two things together. Now we have to use something called a foreign key. Now a foreign key is a primary key in another table, and we can link these two tables together, making them have a relationship by including details of that foreign key in the pet table as shown. And while you think that this increases the size of the database overall, and it does, there's an extra column which is duplicated elsewhere in the database. If you look at this table, the advantage is that we can now reduce the number of records in the owner table because now there's not two Nate records for the three pets. We just use the owner ID to find the unique record. Now, this means that if Nate updates his phone number, we only update it in one place. If Mia updates her phone number, it's only updated in one place. And this reduces that risk of error, or removes that risk of error in the database system. But when you're designing databases and in exam situations, you don't want to draw out the entire database table to make the links. So what we use is something called an entity relationship diagram, or ERD. And I'm going to show you one of these on the next page. So when we're creating an entity relationship diagram, what we're doing is we're creating a pictorial representation of the database tables and the links between them. And we also want to show in the links between the tables something called the cardinality. And I'll explain that using the example on the previous page in just a second. So when you're creating an entity relationship diagram, the first thing you need to do is draw rectangles containing the table's names. So we have information about pets and we have information about owners, and we know that they're linked together, so we draw a line between them like this. Now I'm going to bring up just a little sort of picture from the last page, and here we were discussing how the two tables were linked together as we're shown here. Now one owner ID, which represents Mia, is used once in the pet table. So the cardinality between this particular pieces of information is one owner has one pet. But the owner here, Nate, has two pets. So the relationship here, the cardinality, is one owner has many pets. And what you do is you work out from example data the chances of one owner having one pet or more than one pet, and you do the same in reverse, and you think, well, does one pet have one owner or many owners? And through this you work out the cardinality. So we've established that one owner has one pet and another owner has many pets. So our cardinality is the highest of the two. So one owner has many pets, and that is known as the cardinality. Okay. I'll give you some more examples to try this out in class, but when you're drawing entity relationship diagrams, it's very important that you establish the correct cardinality and you draw it accurately between the two tables. So in this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the entire pets database, and from that we're going to work out the links between the different tables, and then we'll draw the entity relationship diagram with its cardinality. So of course the first thing we have to do is establish the primary keys for each of these tables. So we've got pet ID for the pet table, we've got owner ID for the owner table, and we've got vet ID for the vet table. And then once we've established the primary key, we want to make sure that our data has been formatted correctly so that there are no duplicate entries for the primary keys. So we get rid of the duplicate Nate, as we did in the last page, and we get rid of the duplicate Bob from the vet page. And so now our data has been formatted correctly so that it matches the primary key. We can link all these tables together. So as before, we linked owner ID with the pet table, with owner 13, owner 74. Okay, and that gave us a one-to-many cardinality. We also want to know which vet checked up which pet. So we have to put the vet ID into the pet table as well. And so vet 1 looked after Rosie, vet 26 looked after Mac, and vet 1 looked after Rambo the hamster. And again, the cardinality between the vet table, we have Sam the vet looking after one pet, so we've got a one-to-one relationship between the two tables here, but Bob the vet looked after Rosie the cat and Rambo the hamster, so we've got a one-to-many cardinality with the vet to pet table. And so if we draw this out as an entity relationship diagram, with our just drawing the links between the tables, we can establish that pet and vet are linked by at least one field, and owner and pet are linked by at least one field. And we know from our previous page that one owner can have many pets, and that's the cardinality there. And from the information here, we know that one vet can treat or check up many pets. So the cardinality is one vet, many pets. And that is our completed entity relationship diagram for this database. So let's just summarise the advantages of relational databases that we've established in this video. Firstly, because you have got reduced amounts of records in each of the separate tables, you've got better data integrity because you don't have to update multiple records anytime you want to change a phone number, for example. A second advantage is that you can reduce the overall size of a database file, probably only in a larger database, because as you cut down the amount of duplicate information and use foreign key fields to link tables together, you are actually reducing the amount of information that's entered into the database. So with a larger database, that will significantly reduce the overall file size. A third advantage is that you've got much less chance of deleting important information. So for example, if Bob the vet left the practice and you deleted his details from the database, you wouldn't also be deleting all of the owners that Bob worked with and the vet and the pets that Bob checked. because they're all separate tables that are linked by key fields. So you're not going to delete data, but you will delete the link, the sort of linking field between the information.